Back at the bus, back at it again with a episode 1 through 5 review of the Peacock show, The Day of the Jackal, starring none other than Lashana Lynch.
Yeah, Captain Marvel's mama.
Yeah. So
Maria Rambeau.
absolutely. So going into this, the first thing that we see in the show is them setting up, or is the I guess the Jackal. I guess his code name is the Jackal. And him setting up the first kill. Now, the reason, obviously, I mentioned this first is just because it's the first thing that happens, but I think it really sets up, some of the cinematography. It sets up some of the things that we're going to see throughout this season that show that how meticulous this assassin that we're seeing is. Just from these first scenes, I'm really excited because we know this show is about a hitman, and this shows pretty much everything we need to know about how, like I said, meticulous and cold of an assassin he is that we're dealing with. So
yeah,
the first few
yeah,
scenes,
they
really
kind of
like
drop you right in the middle of it. Showing them what his process is, how he goes about assuming the identity of whatever his not his mark, but the person who he's impersonating, the identity he's stealing to do the job. That was pretty interesting that they started you in the middle of a shot, right? They don't confuse who this person is. They show you his home life, his personal life secondary to his work, which almost kind of creates the duality of the character, right? So like in actuality, his family and everything he has there is the secondary life. That is the cover.
Yeah.
He would much like to think of it the other way around, but the cover is the legitimate life. It's his wife, it's his kids, their family that seem to be living in a mansion with them. That was problem number one. If you go doing it, you need to buy them a house somewhere else.
Sure. Nearby, at least.
Yeah. But yeah. No, I thought it was pretty interesting how they went about introducing the character. Now, Lashana Lynch's character, I absolutely hate her.
Thank
her
you.
Freaking guts. I hate everything about her. Hate the way that she walks. Hate the way that she talks. Hate the way she dresses. She got big pants on all the time. I'm tired of it. I am sick of her.
I'm glad you feel this way because I wholeheartedly agree. And we'll kind of develop that through this review of the first 5 episodes. But yes, I feel a way about it for sure. But yeah, no, I just thought the way that he shot the son to get the father to come to the hospital so that he could kill the father was interesting.
No,
I thought
shit was nuts because I'm sitting there looking at him. I'm like, man, he could have killed him for sure,
easily.
And I'm like, oh man, he lined that up. Right, like I'm gonna get him right as he coming through the hospital door. It's like you said, very meticulous.
The breakdown of the gun into the suitcase was crazy to me.
Now, see, that's what had me a little bit more enamored with the Norman character, right? Like I was very interested in him and his background because he's the linchpin to all of this. Like, yeah, the assassin does his job, but there are plenty of people who can shoot guns. Yeah, he's clever, but there are plenty of people who wear disguises. Breaking down a gun into a suitcase that you can take through TSA,
crazy,
fam,
insane.
That is game changing. And then on top of that, whole time as they're starting the op, they're asking about Norman. We need to find Norman. We need to find Norman. We need to find Norman. Like I get that they were trying to stop another attack. At the same time, though, I think some of the motivation was to get Norman to work for MI6.
I would.
I think a lot of the motivation to get Norman and take him alive was to get him to work for MI6 because that is a very valuable skill.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's crazy. Yeah, so I was really excited with how things kind of started. And then I think also very quickly we see parallels that they're clearly drawing between both the assassin and Lashana Lynch's characters.
Like one person actually cares about their family and is longing for them, and the other one can't get away from them fast enough. Only one of them is an assassin and the other one is a cop, essentially. So it's like they're trying to show, like it's these standard moral versus immoral positions, but yet one person is decidedly immoral. Like they will do their job telling any amount of lies and deceit that they need to get it done, and the other person tries his best not to lie, right? And tries his best to at least feign good, but it's still falling short at the same time. But it's a motivation thing.
Yeah.
It's a motivation. He has positive motivations. She absolutely does not. She has wholly selfish motivations for the majority of the show so far.
I want to be honest with you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it makes it very hard to root for MI6 in this instance. Like, I am actively rooting for the Jackal. He's crazy.
It's crazy. So crazy. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think they intended completely to do it that way. But yes, the assassin in this case is supposed to be the villain, and you find yourself rooting for him because of all the bad decisions that she makes.
We're halfway through the season, and I've expected to see some sort of relent from her, some sort of open up vulnerability to be shown. It is non-existent, and to the degree that I'm getting ready to start episode 7, and it is yet to happen. She's yet to relent. She's yet to repent for any of the wrongs that she's done so far.
Yeah.
And to have her being the one, heading the spear on an investigation for a criminal, damn, it just feels hypocritical. It just feels terrible.
Like, you are definitely a criminal in and of your own self, and you're terrorizing the fuck out of this family.
Probably should have already been charged, and the only reason why you weren't is because they found that case. Because they found the case.
Yeah. I just find that they do kind of a good job in kind of rationalizing some of the things that the Jackal does, but they never really clean up at least some of the decisions that she makes.
Yeah.
And so then it's just like, well, she's just a shit person or what? Like,
yeah,
precisely. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So I thought bro was very meticulous, obviously, in the way that they showed the assassin and everything like that, or assassination. Because of his job, apparently he's got to be somewhat sort of very detailed in the way that he does things. But allowing your wife to see you ride off in a taxi just seemed like you overlooked that.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it was very maybe not predictable, but why would you take that risk? She just dropped you off. So she's somewhere in this vicinity. Like, you don't expect her maybe to stop at the store. Something. But the level of jeopardy that you would have of running back into her as you're perusing around the city is still relative enough that you would take extra precaution, put on one of your disguises. She shouldn't just see you passing in front of her and clear as day. Like enough that she was sure it was you.
Yeah.
And then you just lied to her. It's like, he's too smooth for this. He's a guy who takes over other people's identities. He matches, he's a mimic. He matches their movements, their personalities, the way that their voices are. He's able to go in painstaking detail and become a whole nother person. How the hell did you get caught in a taxi going down the street?
You feel me? I just feel like that was an oversight for somebody who should be extremely detailed, like more than anybody else. So you should have probably picked up on that. And then that led to how easily she was able to find all the shit in the house. Why?
Yeah. I mean, between her and her brother, I guess I don't know. We're kind of in a point in their relationship where it's coming to a head, where all of the lies he's told her previously are starting to add up. So that part of it makes sense that she would be curious.
Oh, sure.
It's just, I guess it's kind of unfortunate from a viewer standpoint that we're kind of dropped into it cold. And so we don't understand how many lies he must have told to her for the years that they've been together, to get her to that point. Because it kind of just feels immediate, right? They're all happy. Everything's good. And then all of a sudden she sees him in that car and is like, oh, he got to be cheating. And then immediately goes from cheating to something completely worse once she finds the safe and everything else. So yeah, I don't know. It probably would have given us a little bit better understanding of that, to give us a little bit more background on what their relationship is in terms of him telling her the truth.
Yeah, I guess I understand.
I wasn't sure if she knew or not. The first couple conversations that they had with each other, I didn't really know if she
had any suspicion
what kind of work he does. Just not exactly. He's never really explained it. Do you know that he's not like a legit government worker or whatever? Then even that gets revealed here in the later episodes. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like she has every right to be curious considering the situation where she just thinks he's cheating. But I also kind of just feel like finding some of those things would have been just as easy if she was just cleaning around the house and just got a tiny bit curious. It's like
Nah,
you're an
not really.
assassin.
I
This should
mean,
be
the
a
the
little
the
harder.
room that he was doing his costumes in was behind
That would have been a
a
harder.
trap closet. Yeah, that would have been hard to find. He had a false bottom in the closet underneath his clothes. Like, where were you going to be? She was looking for that specifically. She
Yeah,
was looking for something like that in particular. If you ain't looking for that, you're never going to find a false floorboard in the closet underneath my clothes.
that's fair. I mean, maybe not somebody who is just happen to be cleaning and is not worrisome, but maybe somebody who's a little curious could have done a little bit of like digging
I guess if
around
you
a little
snooping,
bit.
yeah. If you
Yeah,
snoop around looking for stuff, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. I just thought that was a little weird. Okay, so the shitty handling of her situation with Norman, and then obviously the family and all that, doesn't really lend itself to the genius that they painted Bianca to be in the very beginning of the show. Like they painted her to be like an expert in weapons and she's this huge genius, and it just doesn't really prove
They haven't
itself.
really accentuated her intellect in terms of guns, right? Like
Yeah.
most of that did get him on the or get her on the trail of Norman. But it after that, it's been just a lot of deception, a lot of lies. Like,
Mhm.
oh, let me pick your daughter up on some trumped up charges. Oh, let me tell you, you can get her out, even though she's already had some sort of episode and died, but you still had to give me the information. Oh, you killed your wife? Okay, well, I'll just, I'll forget about that for a minute, but tell me where Norman is, and then find her in the bed in the
With a knife to my
in the
daughter's throat.
hotel, yeah, later. Um, Oh yeah, you put a knife to my daughter's throat. Okay, cool. I'll let you off. You can go home. You won't go to jail. Just tell me where Norman is. It's okay. Lying right through her teeth. Just
Yeah,
just telling lies. This has nothing to do with guns. She's just a liar.
especially after threatening my family.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Like you killed my daughter. I don't know if he had to kill his own wife, but I sure he would blame that on her. And then now I'm in jail. You made me give up my brother, and you're still not gonna honor the deal. Like, again, he's not a good person by
Yeah,
any stretch of the
correct.
imagination. But I'm struggling to figure out why she's better.
I agree.
Because all of this started with her arresting his daughter and her dying while she was in police custody.
Yeah.
So
I also need to understand this dynamic between her and her boss's boss, the white lady, a little bit better, because I need to understand how, despite all of the things that she failed out on, she mentions Vincent Pine, essentially asking for yet another favor, despite all the losses that she's caused, and her boss's boss just agrees. Like, okay, sure, you can have that too.
she in too deep. In too deep.
I thought that was crazy. I'm like, I'm
You
not
gotta
giving you
commit.
another shot. No way,
You
you
gotta
fucked all
commit.
this up. I guess. Okay, the thought of an app that shows the transparency of transactions, albeit for rich people, sounds like a good idea to expose the rich and powerful, but it also sounds like some weird, like,
Some oppie
I'm
shit.
rich and I'm going to take down the rich for whatever reason, like on some like Drake lawsuit shit. But I also feel like said app in real life would end up fucking things up for just everybody in general, not just rich people. Like it'd be used for some shit it's not supposed to
I
be used
mean,
for.
so yes, I can think of some other occupations that would get outed for certain transactions. But the bad ones, the most prominent ones that hide their business dealings in cryptocurrency or any other type of encrypted currency. I think the benefit of that is much greater than the the harm of your local bud man being outed. I just think that the human traffickers and whatnot,
That's fair.
and the politicians who purchase human trafficked
Which
individuals,
it seems to be a
and
lot of
the
them.
celebrities that do so, and so forth and so forth, who are able to hide these purchases in blockchains or whatever. I would like to see something like that for sure. I
That's
like to
fair.
see something like that.
But
And
even
then the only thing that fucked me up about it is that he understands how popular or how important something like that would be, how many feathers it would ruffle, and he absolutely positively doesn't listen to anyone who's advising him around it. You've hired a army to protect you on a compound, and you won't listen to them. You know better. Why don't you just take your ass back to the city then? Get you a gun, go sit in your apartment, because you got it all figured out anyways. You don't need this nigga help. What do you need the security detail for? You're not gonna listen to him. You're letting your damn publicist give you safety advice.
Yeah.
You're the security. Protect him. I'm trying to, ferryman, but you won't get out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, no, I agree. There are definitely some benefits to that app. I also just kind of feel like the person who's running that app would also find some way to be around that app. So now he's telling on everybody else, but also not telling on himself. So I don't know. I just feel like there's some room for some sort of corruption with that. But
maybe it's over a personal beef, or they ousted him somehow. I don't know. Whatever. But just the mere fact that he's going to be opening up everybody's financial books in great detail lets me know that he's had a lot of enemies. And so if you got a lot of enemies, enough to the point where you are, again, secluding yourself on an island and hiring a security detail to surveil you 24/7 so that you do not die, you should probably listen to them when they say a contract has been taken out on your life. Who gives a shit who took it out? Somebody put some money on your head.
So now we're getting to the end of it. I absolutely hated the scene with Bianca shooting in the water and not hitting him once.
Not hitting shit. She ain't hit nothing.
Nothing.
Not even just shooting into the water. Before my man jumped off the cliff, she's a terrible shot. I thought she was a gun expert. She don't go to the range.
Thank you.
Awful shot. Terrible shot.
Nothing.
My man has maybe 4 shots left on this gun, and he can't even shoot him because he still needs it for the job. He can't even return fire. Yep. There's 4 of y'all. He was on a horse. Now, if all the other shit didn't get her fired, this should get her ass fucking fired. She should be doing everything off the books from now on, because this should be completely untenable. You led a foreign operation that failed. Another agent goes down. Don't know if they died or not. Right? You did it without my consent. You went around me. Now, how much you want to bet that homeboy that she's been running these ops with told her to keep her circle her close? Goes, I don't know whatever you are talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever you mean.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bianca, but I have no idea what you mean.
That's a crazy accent.
How much do you bet that Black Anthony Hopkins does not back her up?
Black Anthony Hopkins is hilarious. Yeah, no, I agree. He's been looking for a reason not to. So, okay, but obviously he still gets caught in the end. He gets knocked out by somebody.
Now, again, this feels like it's going to be a little bit of time wasting, because what is this? If he's not connected to the main plot of the story, I found you sleeping in my barn. Somehow I'm capable enough to knock you out, this world-class assassin, to knock you out and hang you up and leave you there all night. That's safe for me, right?
Clearly.
I don't know what we're doing here. Feels like we're time wasting. We're fillering, but we'll see what happens when I actually watch it in episode 7.
So to that point, I feel like yeah, I got you. I feel like this could have easily been a 6 to 8 episode show as opposed to a 10 episode show.
Are we dragging just a bit?
I think there are some spots of filler in here, and I think hopefully shortening it would have made Bianca look like less of a shit character. Maybe not.
They still needed to
she made some really bad decisions.
They needed to present some more vulnerabilities. They needed to explain why she operates the way that she does. We're too deep into the season. She's hurt too many people that they've made us care about to kind of reverse it to any real degree. They should have leaned a little bit more into why is she like this, as opposed to, harping on what she does and who she is.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like maybe sometimes we do things to get a 10 episode season, so we add all these nice fancy shots that ultimately don't really mean anything, but look really good and make the show look good. But ultimately, we could have told the story in less.
That happens.
So if it's 6 to 8, it could have been they could have punched to some of the scenes a little bit quicker, and it would have made a lot more sense, and it would have felt a little bit more concise. I feel like we would have got to the point quicker. And so I think 6 to 8 would have felt better in this situation. But you got to do what you got to do for 10 episodes, I guess.
Sure. Give us your thoughts on the first 5 episodes of Day of the Jackal. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll be here in a couple of weeks to do the last 5 episodes 6 through 10. Make sure you join us again for that breakdown. Share this out. Let us know what you thought.
Yeah, make sure obviously you like. If you're checking out Day of the Jackal, make sure you drop a comment. Tell us what you think about the show. And then make sure you subscribe. We'll be talking about 5 through 10 in a couple weeks. Peace.